Hi everybody, I'm Ryan. Today we're going to look at the metagame for Pioneer on Magic Online. Pioneer has gone through quite a few changes in the last month between the Brothers War coming out and then also people just playing it differently and different decks becoming popular and thus changing the landscape of Pioneer. And I think it's in a really good spot right now. So let's just jump into the numbers. The Pioneer metagame for the last week is as follows. At the very top, with only 7.8%, is Red-Black Midrange. The second most popular deck with 6.8% is Lotus Combo, and then tied in third with 6.3 is Blue-White Control, Abzan Greasefang, and Red-Black Sack. But you notice even at the top, those numbers are really low. Like less than 10% of the metagame means that no deck is really totally dominant. It's just looking at that, it feels like you can play almost anything and be successful, or at least be a reasonable representation of what everybody else is playing. Notice rogue decks. Basically, when I got to an amount that didn't really fit on the graph in a reasonable way, I grouped all the lowest numbers together, and that's 19.8%. That is an absolutely wild number. Pioneer is wide open right now, very obviously, and that's really exciting. But let's look at these top two decks, these two that are at the front. Red-Black Midrange is, what we've always seen and what we've seen before. It plays valuable creatures, puts on a lot of pressure with those creatures that do other things like Blood Tithe Harvester, Misery Shadow, Bone Crusher Giant, etc., etc. A lot of removal spells, and then Thought Seizes you, and then gets rid of cards that don't do anything with Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and it is really an impressive card. I think what really leads into the success of this deck is that it really punishes decks for mulliganing. If you mulligan and then you get Thoughtseize, the game's pretty much over, plus being a really good deck in and of itself. And then the second most popular deck is the Lotus Combo deck. This deck has gone in and out of being popular over and over and over, and is back into it. Again, I think especially because of the decrease in popularity of mono green. This deck seemed to have quite a bit of issues, with mono green's faster hands. So the point of this deck is to play the land Lotus Field, which taps for 3 mana, untap it a whole bunch to create a ridiculous amount of mana, and then tutor out kill conditions. Normally approach for the second sun out of your sideboard, and then tutoring it back out of the deck and casting it for game. And while this is unless you consider mono green a combo deck, which is, it totally could be considered a combo deck, this is kind of the premier combo deck of the format at the moment. And it is popular again and actually seeing success again, which we'll see when we jump into the top 8 metagame. There are 2 major tournaments this past weekend on Magic Online and Pioneer. Blue-White Control is sitting at the top with 18.8% of the top 8 being consisting of Blue-White Control. And tied in second and third, Lotus Combo with 12.5% and Red-Black Midrange with 12.5%. But look at all of the decks that made top 8. This metagame is so wide open. There's even a green-white toolbox deck that came into top 8. Which I had never seen before, and blue-red no Phoenix, just is it tempo. It really feels like you can play almost anything and be successful in Magic right now. What's especially impressive is these rogue decks, or these decks with not a lot of numbers that are making top 8 right alongside these more popular decks, which is all very exciting. But we didn't look at the Blue-White Control deck yet. Blue-White Control is exactly what it sounds like, right? Powerful planeswalkers that control the board and draw cards. Board wipes, counter spells, Shark Typhoon, every control deck needs a Shark Tornado. But this is the most successful deck of the past weekend, even though it wasn't really sitting at the top of the metagame. But it's hard to when the metagame's so diverse, which is so impressive and so cool. Now, normally when we do these metagames, I point out a deck I think is really cool that is coming into popularity. And this time around is the Yorion Fires deck. So it was not very popular as far as the metagame as a whole. However, one copy made top 8, again consistent of 6.3% of top 8s this past weekend. And I think this deck's really good. It seems like the decks that are being successful are moving away from Karuga and are moving towards Yorion, which is a really interesting change. The big difference of this is Enigmatic Incarnation. So basically you're able to use your deck as a giant toolbox when you get this essentially Birthing Pod card out, in addition to the Fires of Invention combo. So you don't get the synergy with Karuga, but you do get to toolbox your deck, which is all just very exciting and very, very cool. And I really want to try out this deck. Well, I've tried it before, but I really want to give it some time, because seeing that top 8 and seeing more people move towards this version of the deck makes me think that maybe this deck has a chance, and maybe it is really good. So that was the Pioneer metagame for the past week. If you want to see more videos like this or want me to touch on any other things, please let me know and like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.